One of the latest updates for ANLP members is the ability to be able to record your case studies rather than have to use the template. So what Shannon and I have done is we've recorded a quick example for you using the questions that are in the template to demonstrate just how quick and easy this can be. Once you've made your recording, please do send it to us at members@ANLP and we will upload it for you. Here you go.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about this case study?
Yes, so this is a case study about fears and phobias, and it's about a phobia of flying.
Okay. And what was the presenting challenge/problem?
So basically, this particular client had not been on a plane for, I think it was at least 20 years, and so that had severely restricted their movement. Basically, they were stuck in the UK.
Okay. And do you know if they had tried anything before choosing NLP?
I believe they had given themselves a good talking to, and that hadn't proved to be sufficient. So they hadn't tried any other interventions of any sort, no.
Okay. And how did the challenge affect the client?
So they were very restricted in terms of weren't able to leave the UK at all. And I think the reason it actually became an issue was when they were offered some work abroad, and they weighed up the odds, and it was a choice of spending £20 on a flight to the south of France with a well-known cheap airline, or spending, I think it was nearly £500 on a Eurostar ticket. And they couldn't justify the £500 spending on a Eurostar ticket just to go and visit a client. So that became the sort of crunch for them in terms of wanting to make the change.
Okay. Is there anything else there that you could tell us, some of the words and their behaviours, their feelings that they may have felt about the challenge?
Yes, absolutely. They literally, even when a plane would fly overhead, when they were in the garden, they would actually start shaking and panicking about the fact that there were people in that plane and what must those people be thinking and feeling. So the thought of going anywhere near a plane was just a complete mental block for them.
Thank you. What did you do to empower your client to move forward and make the changes they wanted?
So, funnily enough, it wasn't the fast phobia cure. Just used a range of different strategies. Basically, gave them some strategies so that they could better cope. So there was a lot of anchoring involved. They chose an object that was small and discreet that they could actually hold whilst they were flying. So they had an anchor attached to that. We did a lot of visualization techniques. So they had to visualize that actually as the plane took off, they were nestled in a cloud, and they were safe in that cloud until they got to the other end, and then the cloud would release them gently the other end. So it was lots of things, but that was having ascertained what were their actual fears around the flying. And then the other thing was just giving them strategies around being able to block themselves off from everything else that was happening on the plane, because that was one of their concerns, was about other people on the plane. So it was creating a sort of a safety bubble for them, and lots of visualization around that, and suggesting noise reducing headphones, and plenty of things to occupy themselves with on the plane, so that they had other things to focus on rather than what's everybody else doing. So it was a range of strategies based upon what their fears were based on.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit more about how the sessions worked? What did a session look like? What did it sound like?
So there was only one session. It ended up being a 90-minute session, ascertaining what their concerns were, because they'd come with a specific issue, which was this fear of flying. They'd come with that specific issue, and it was very much about what's underneath that, what does that mean, what's it about. And then it was literally just teaching them some strategies, and they were making notes, they were saying things, and then we just had a follow-up phone call to remind them, once they got the anchor and things like that. It was just a follow-up phone call, and had they tested it, and we future paced it and we tested it, and then the challenge was going to be, or the real test was, could they get on a plane?
And what did the client say about their experience?
Well, they got on a plane. they, they, they got their cheap ticket. They did get on the plane. They did all the things. The anchoring was especially helpful, as was the visualization. And I think it was a combination of everything. But what they've done since, what I've heard since, is that not only did they get on the plane on that occasion for getting to their client in the south of France, they've been all over the place since then, including a honeymoon in Cuba, and been to Italy and all sorts of things. So I think flying will never be their favourite thing, and it's really opened up their world.